Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Pages Pixels, where we talk about new movies or sometimes shows every week. I'm Rohan, that's Kevin, and let's get into it because today we are talking about Squid Game Season 3, which is obviously it's supposed to be the last season of Squid Game, although the creator said there may be a season 4. But for right now, we're operating as it's the last one, at least of the Korean version. And what did you think of this season? Because it's gotten some mixed reception online.
Yeah, I mean, coming into season three, I felt that season two is going to be like, the way that it ended, it's obviously just kind of more of a continuation of that season. So I felt like it was going to be received basically the same as season two. And at first, I feel like it did because, I mean, it got very, like you said, mixed reception, and I
Yeah,
felt that season two it kind of had a change because when the show first came out, all of the people that were complaining about season three were like, "Oh, season one and two were great, and three is just okay." So it seems odd that they had like this kind of like people going back and saying, "Oh, season two was really good." When I feel like last time we did a podcast, we started talking about how that season was not received that well.
yeah. I kind of agree. There's this weird revisionist history. Um,
Hmm.
I remember. I don't know if you've seen that horse meme where it's like the horse is like shaded very well, and then like in the seasons that it's bad, it's like a cartoon that
Completely
looks like a
drawn. Yeah.
4-year-old drew it.
Hmm.
So that's what I saw for season one, season two, and season three, which is weird because, as you said, when season two came out, a lot of people didn't really like it much. I'm gonna be honest. If I think all three seasons are great. If I'm ranking them, I have season one at the lowest.
I don't know if I have a concrete ranking right now, but I did enjoy season three as well. Like I thought that season three was really fun.
Yeah,
I think that both season two and three were doing new things that the show wasn't doing at first. And I almost wish that like I think part of the reason why is because I think the characters there were just a lot more in this season to follow, and the previous season than season one had that many like main characters to follow.
I agree. I think I'm just so much for, and that's why for me, seasons two and three I prefer to season one because I think season one is really more about the games, and that's kind of why I'm watching the show. But I think in seasons two and three, I'm way more invested in the journeys of the characters. Um, I mean, the main character is it Ji-hun or
Gi-hun, yeah,
yeah, um, G or Gi?
I'm pretty sure it's Gi.
Gi? Okay.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I he is like he was a cool protagonist in season one. In seasons two and three, he is kind of one of my favorite. He's one of my favorite protagonists in TV in general now.
Hmm.
I'm just so invested in his story. To take down the games, and it's like he's trying to win it, and um, but he's also trying to save the others. While in season one, it was kind of him just trying to win it. I mean, obviously he had a couple of friends that he had like alliances with, but it was really about him, like, okay, trying to just win the game. In this season, especially season three, more so than season two, although I think this is the case for season two as well. Season three, it's really about he's like, hey, I want to help protect the others that are in the game, uh, and I just find it so interesting. It's like if you make it a sports analogy, right? He is season one. He's the rookie, full of like excitement, enthusiasm, uh, and just raw talent, but doesn't really know what to do himself. While in seasons two and three, he's a veteran and
Hmm.
um, like he has the experience and he sees the game and the world in a different way than he did What just goes to show how great his character development has been throughout the series.
No, I totally understand that comparison, and I agree. I think that Gi-hun 456, I think he is really one of my favorite like TV protagonists. I think for a lot of the reasons you mentioned. First of all, I think that um, his performance is just great.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sorry, I'm
fantastic.
blanking on the actor's name, but he's a great guy. I've seen him in other stuff too, but I think that this is his best role. Um, I also think that season two, I really like how they changed his look. Like he kind of was, he's very like, he seems so full of life in the first season,
Hmm.
and then every bit of his looks in season two, he's super gaunt and kind of like haunted almost. I
Yeah,
really love his performance this season, and I'm really disappointed he did not get an Emmy. I know that they didn't count season three. I think his season three performance is a little bit better than um, two, but
yeah,
still, I would say that he's just really, it's just a really good um, direction for this character to go. Um, it's funny you mentioned sports analogy. I'm going to liken it to my love of reality TV, which I mentioned on the podcast last season or last time we covered it. Because right now there's a season of Big Brother where they've got one veteran who already won the game and is in the house with all of the other competitors. And so, I've always thought that Squid Game has this like reality TV connection because it's a game just like sports. It's for entertainment for these
right.
rich people. I feel like it's almost like a callback to that, where it's like, oh, we've got a veteran. We've never done this before. It's like Hunger Games catching fire when they bring
Uh-huh.
all the people back. It's supposed to
Yeah.
be like this hype moment with Aura, I guess,
Yeah.
for them
Uh,
watching.
yeah. Although I feel like they have had people return to the game. Because I remember there's a specific line that one of the VIPs gives. Uh, I can't remember which episode exactly, but they said, "Hey, have we ever had the same person win it twice?" Um, and they were like, "Okay, I don't think that's happened," which tells me that nobody has won it twice, and unfortunately, still remains the case. Um, but it also tells me that there have been competitors who have returned.
Hmm.
It's just they haven't won.
It's funny. I was expecting a reveal that the pink guard that we were following this season, I thought she was a winner, like a former winner.
Oh,
Um,
really?
I thought that that was going to be the twist reveal with her, but it turned out to be something a little bit smaller, um,
Hmm.
which I
It is
think
it
we can
is
talk about more later
interesting
in the
they bring that up. I mean, we can jump into it now because
Sure.
if I do have to pick kind of weaknesses amongst what I loved about this show, it is kind of the side storylines. I love what's happening in the games. Um, I think Gi-hun is fantastic, and I think all the other characters are also great. Even the ones that are like villains. Number 100 especially, I hated that guy. Um, Even the ones that you hate, it's like you hate them not because they make the show worse. You hate them because you are supposed to hate them. Um, and then I think the ones that you root for, you've I personally really loved, and I found myself really engaged. And when um, most of them, well, actually all of them, when all of them died, it was sad. I was like, I didn't want them to die. I was really invested. But the side stories, um, which you brought up the guard that we follow, I honestly was not very invested.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I thought that that was the more engaging side story, because I think you could argue that that Squid Game season three has three plots. The A plot being the games,
Hmm.
B plot being searching for the island, the C plot the guard and the player she's trying to
Yep.
sneak him off.
Yeah.
I think that that is like the C storyline because it probably gets the least amount of development. But
I would
I
agree.
don't know. I actually really liked it. It actually reminds me of the fact that I watched Cabin in the Woods with one of my good friends. Shout out Teo. He was like, "Oh, I wish in that movie they had a like the character try to help the people that were victims." And like that's actually where this plot
Hmm.
line kind of goes. It's like, what if someone helped someone in the games get out? And they sort of explored that in season one with the doctor who would operate on the other players. Um, but that was more just like exploitation of him, not
Right.
really. We never knew if they were actually going to free him or not. Probably not.
Hmm.
But I do think that it was just sweet, like seeing how it ended up. Like it was super. It was very satisfying that she was able to actually do everything she set out to do and lived. Like I expected a
Yeah.
very bad end for this character,
Hmm.
but it was probably the most optimistic part of the end, and also learning that she has a daughter that she was looking for. Like I just thought there was a lot of cohesion in that side plot.
Yeah. Yeah. So I will say that even though it didn't necessarily work for me, I understand why it was there. Like it makes sense that out of all, I don't know how many of those pink outfit guys there are, but out of all of them, yeah, you think at least one of them would be like, I'm gonna like do my own thing here, especially if it's somebody that I personally know.
Hmm.
Um, so it does make sense that's in that standpoint, and I did prefer it to the searching for the island subplot. I think that continues to be the worst subplot or storyline in this season. In season two, I thought it was even worse because I feel like it literally went nowhere.
Hmm.
Season three, they there was points where I started to enjoy it, like when the one guy goes to the captain's home and investigates and finds the pink outfit, finds the money, the picture. Um, I actually think that's when it started getting kind of interesting. But ultimately, it's just like I just feel like that was 10% of a bunch of other time that just felt like it's just like all the scenes that came back to it kind of just serve as a oh reminder this is happening, even though there's been no progression, and you don't really get the progression until way later. I feel like if
Hmm.
you had more incremental progression throughout, I would have been more invested.
No, I agree, and I also thought that was the weakest plot line. I was really, I think the Captain Park storyline felt like it was supposed to be this like jaw-dropping thing in season two, and it just really wasn't. Um,
Yeah,
he was just like I did like when he was exposed. I think that was my favorite scene of the plot line because it's like this like oh the phone call and then he goes and grabs the tools while
it was a great
the
scene.
yeah it's so like horrible what's happening because they're he's turning all of on all of them and they have no idea that that's coming and I thought it was really well done.
Right?
I thought that Junho's storyline this season and also season two was just kind of really disappointing. Like he kind of didn't get
Yeah,
anything he sought out to do, and I don't think he learned much either. Like he didn't really change at any point, and I think that that is part of the problem for me with his storyline because I just didn't think that it, it didn't get its like proper climax. I think he needed to have one
right.
final stand. Um,
Yeah, um, it is like if you take out that storyline, um, it doesn't have much of an impact on the ending. I mean, I guess the island burns. Um, though I think with a little bit of tweaking, you could have easily had Um, just the storyline with the soldier trying to help the other player in the game. I think you tweak it around a little bit, and she could have been the one to burn down the island. But ultimately, he doesn't arrive to the island until after the game is done. So he has no impact on that, and the show wraps up very kind of quickly. Um, After that, uh, it's not like the organization hosting the Squid Games is done because obviously we see that they are doing it overseas, and I'm actually guessing that this has been a global thing for a while, and they've been doing it
Hmm.
globally. I think that makes sense, but so yeah, I think that's you kind of nailed it. Where um, it's just it doesn't really have much of a bearing on the plot. We don't need it, unfortunately.
It also seems like Squid Game's not going to end like in the universe. Like that island's blown
Exactly.
up. That doesn't mean anything for the big who's really in charge of this whole thing. Like
Yeah.
if it's happening in America, which you know, got to talk about the last scene.
Yeah, let's
Um,
do it.
Kate Blanchett as the the Doc G person is really funny. Like I
Yeah.
think that's hilarious that they got her for that. And she's a good person. I know that people are complaining because like, oh, they don't play Doc G in America. But like, okay, do you really want to see like this cap on like her playing tic-tac-toe or hopscotch with a guy in an alley? Or do you want it to like actually bookend our beginning where we played Doc G or whatever? It's an easy game to learn. I don't know. I think I defend the decision to make Kate Blanchett play Doc G. That's my take.
I I agree with you to an extent. I'm good with her being there. I actually think it's awesome that you got Kate Blanchett. Her playing Dachki. Um, it doesn't work for me. I do wish it was a different game that is that is more in America. Um,
Uh,
I don't
so
know what that
like
game would
what
be.
at what point does she slap him during tic-tac-toe? When he fails?
Well, it doesn't have to be tic tac toe.
Okay, but what would it be? What would you change it to?
It could be marbles.
I guess marbles could have worked,
Yeah,
given that it's an in-universe thing.
yeah,
Um,
um,
yeah, I fully
yeah,
expect the US version to have its own game, like when
yeah,
they do their Squid Game. But if they do end up doing Doc G, I think it just shows that like Netflix is lazy. They
yeah.
just want to just do the same games.
Yeah, I hope it's not the same game. I think that they really should change it up a bit. Um, that's again, I don't know what game off the top of my head, but I'm sure if you give me, uh, you give me some time to think about it, the way that the writers have time to write the season, I'm sure I could think of something.
Hmm.
Yeah. With that said, I do want to bring up this because a lot of people are kind of they're kind of very upset about the whole American remake, or
Hmm.
expansion. I would say it is more accurate because it is in universe. Um, I'm okay with it personally because one, just because they make an American version, it does not take away the original Korean version. It's not like Netflix is like, hey, we're gonna release this American version and that one's gone. Uh, well, two, David Fincher is involved. I will I will trust him. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt before I judge the actual show. And like it makes sense. America is another country where there are people who have problems of debt and income inequality is like all the themes, and I think that's part of the reason why Squid Game hit so well in America because the themes are so universal. Um, and also the VIPs are American. It's kind of implied that it is a global game already, which
Hmm.
makes sense. When one sport takes off in one country, it tends to. inspire leagues across the globe. Like you, I'm a big basketball fan. They have the NBA, but they also have Euro League, and they also have a league in China. Um, there was going to be a league in India, and apparently, for some crazy reasons, which I'm not going to get into here, you guys can Google it. It shut down. Um, so it makes sense that they have other Squid Games globally. So I don't have an issue with the American version.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the thing for me about the American version is just it's solely dependent on how original it takes the concept. Because
Right.
I just think lately we've been getting a lot of one-to-one remakes, and they are
Yeah.
not very fun to hear about because it's another reason to not have writers. And I just personally get really like uh I don't know worried that the machine that Hollywood has, um, they're taking this stuff, they're putting it on streaming, and then they're just remaking stuff. Or Disney, they're always remaking stuff. For
Uh-huh.
me, it's more about the principle of it that it does not take a lot to write these because you can literally just have it done. And so it's just missing out on like an original property again for something else to get made. And so that for me is the problem with Squid Game. As long as there's a lot of original elements, I don't mind if they copy a lot of the games. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to see them play Red Light, Green Light with this stupid little girl. Fine, I want to see that. But maybe they can have some Americanized versions of the game. Maybe they should
Yeah.
have different mixing of characters. Like, take some characters that seemed good from like season two and put them in season one
Yep.
instead, and then like mix it up a little bit. I just think um, that for me is what I would hope with the American season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just not sure if we're gonna get it or not. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I think if it is a remake, like completely, or it's just like, okay, this is basically just season one all over again, and then two and three, then yeah, then it's like, okay, what's the point? I personally don't think it will be.
Me
Um,
neither. I hope. I
especially,
think.
yeah, especially I think if you're gonna do kind of a one-to-one remake, I don't think you get David Fincher. Um, I think you get David Fincher knowing that he's gonna do a little bit of his own thing. Uh, so
Yeah.
I still have high hopes for it.
If anything gets improved, it's gonna be the detective like storyline. I
Oh
think.
yeah,
Because I mean, that's his bread and butter. Like he's so
yep.
good at it. It's like he found Fight Club. Um, let's actually talk about the games for a second because we haven't really
Hmm.
talked about the A plot line.
Yeah.
What was your favorite like set piece from this season? Typically leaning towards like the games. Like we had I think three total in this one.
That's a good question because I actually think the maze one works very well.
Hmm.
Um, in terms of story, like I think that is when you get a bunch of significant character deaths. Um, and it's also when you get a bunch of significant character turns. You even have the baby uh
Hmm.
being born in it, and it's very interesting because you get to see characters actively trying to fight and kill each other. I think 333, he's the crypto guy, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's kind of his turn from he very much seemed like he was gonna be a good guy and a hero, and then you see him get corrupted by
Hmm.
Thanos' friend, and he transitions into the villain. You see the mom kill her son. Um, the I can't remember the name of the other trans woman, but she
Uni.
dies and
Hmm.
sorry,
Uni.
yeah,
She has a full name, but yeah.
yeah, she dies and Hell, she was one of my favorite characters.
Hmm.
So I think that works super well from a storytelling perspective. In terms of a set piece, the jump rope was so cool.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one. I I am pretty much of the same opinion, so I don't want to echo too much other than just say how much I really loved episode 2. I think that was my favorite episode of the season for sure.
Which
But
one is that exactly?
it's the maze you're talking about.
Okay,
That is the
yeah.
whole episode 2. Um, I think Gi-hun's like lust for like revenge is like really interesting. I didn't expect that. Oh,
Oh
sorry.
yeah.
I didn't expect that, but I genuinely thought it still worked. Like I didn't expect them to take that character that direction, and it still did. All of those moments are great. The shaman lady versus 100 also is
Oh
really
yeah.
funny. She has her comeuppance. Um, Also the guy who was like bullied by Thanos, I think Minsu, he
Yeah.
him
Taking the pills.
becoming like a drug addict. Like there's so much that happens in this episode.
I know.
And it also has no detective plot line. Wow, I wonder why it's the best
Oh
one.
yeah. I think it was
Yeah,
like exclusively focused on the games.
right. And I think that's just the strength of the show. Like it was just so well thought out. I also thought the game mechanics were really fun
Oh yeah.
because and so I personally preferred it to the jump rope, but jump rope was one of my favorite things as a kid. So seeing it as a refined game of like the glass stepping stones, I think it was really fun.
Yeah.
Um, but man, the game mechanics of hide and seek were great. Like with the three keys, so you had to get all of the keys together to get the final unlock. But also, yeah, in order to get around to different rooms, you need a group that can actually unlock all the doors.
Yep.
Um, and the weapons were really good too. Like I think it made it like a lot harder, or it made it easy. It helped the fact that like they could still defend themselves, especially if you have like Uni, who like took down
Right.
so many people, and then it's so annoying when she dies because she just
I
has her back
know.
turned, and then you see it's 333 who has killed yet another person
Yep.
by a doorway.
Yeah. And you have the end of kind of that kind of romance, because in
Hmm.
some 333, I mean he's the father of the baby, but it's implied that they might actually even get together.
Yeah.
But then she's like, "Oh, he passed. Yay." And then, oh, he kills the woman that was protecting her the entire time.
Hmm.
And it's just like, "Oh, that sucks."
It was so disappointing. Like honestly, like I was so mad. I think I
I was
texted you
pissed
about
too.
how mad I was. I was like,
Yeah.
I am so confused. Why did he do that? Uh,
Yeah. And I think bringing up Gi-hun's bloodlust is also super interesting because that's like another wrinkle of the character where season one he is kind of bright, optimistic, trying to win. Season two he is being the hero, trying to save as many people as he can, hell, everyone, regardless of whether or not they voted to continue or end the game. In season three, the darker side of him where he's angry, he's more disillusioned. Um, and we see it the most in the hide and seek. And then it's through kind of the baby that he has to be pulled back um, into kind of
hmm.
the hero, the good guy, kind of what he was in season two.
I
Um,
thought the baby element worked, even though
yeah,
I do think I could understand someone saying that the baby plot line's predictable. I mean, I can understand
yeah,
sort of where they're coming from. I do think that I didn't expect 222 to die. I actually thought, well, one, season 3 spoilers kept coming up and it was very annoying. So I did get spoiled on different things like right before the season. It was so frustrating. But one of them I thought was that I actually thought 222 won because the spoiler I saw had her picture, but it turns out it was the baby's.
oh,
So
yeah.
when she died, I was like, "What?" Okay, so that very much shocked me. And then the game of jump rope, like I do really like it, but as a mechanics game, it does kind of piss me off that you can just push someone off if they get to the end.
Oh
So
yeah,
I knew she was screwed. There was no way she could get out of that. But the entire time I was like, oh, she's gonna do it. She's gonna get across somehow.
yeah.
Like it makes no sense to me. So
I
yeah,
really expected. Sorry,
no, that was all.
I really expected 333 to help her. Um, and I thought that. I mean, she obviously didn't let him, but I thought that in like the final minute he was gonna be like I don't care. I need you to live.
Hmm.
Um, and try to save her. And then I was like, okay, either they're both gonna go out or this is gonna be his redemption arc, and that never happened.
Yeah, neither happened. It just
Hmm.
I think we should speak on that last game. I mean,
Yep.
when with the baby participating yet again, it's kind of crazy how they all were just agreeing, like, yeah, we're gonna kill the baby. Like,
Oh
that's
yeah.
insane. Like, I don't even know how they get to that point. I thought that game was kind of like bad. Like, I was very upset at the whole idea of, oh, you have to push the button to
Yeah.
eliminate people.
Yeah. I kind of wish it were just the moment someone gets eliminated, you advance. Um, it really feels like the reason for that button to start the game was because the writers were like, okay, Gi-hun has got to win, and he's got to make sure that the baby lives. Um, so we gotta find a reason as to we gotta get to the third one with 333. You gotta make sure 333 dies, and but there's got to be a reason why Gi-hun sacrifices himself. So it really was just like,
Hmm.
oh, what if we have the button and it's like he never pushed the button, so the game never started. Yeah, I agree. It didn't work entirely for me.
They may not have not even needed the button. I think the complicated part was when they said, "Oh, only three of you have to die. All like more than one of you can win." I think they just should have surprised them and said, "Actually, it's the like they should have just pulled the rug and just said, "No, the game is one person left
Yeah.
standing wins." I think that would have worked a little bit better.
Uh huh.
Um, because like you can still get the alliance that they form, and they're like, okay, no, we're gonna be the last like six or whatever in the last
Right.
game or whatever. Like they have to push off a couple to win, and Gi-hun manages to convince them to throw each other off before they get to the next one. Like that could actually be
Yeah.
like possible, but yeah, I mean, I think some of the elements were fine. Like I think 333, like tricking them with the big pole, like yeah, it made
Yeah.
sense. But I don't know. I didn't like the final games last season either. Like I didn't enjoy the Squid Game. So
I agree.
yeah, I'm not surprised I didn't enjoy this one either. But um, still, I think it's a very sad moment seeing Gi-hun sacrifice himself.
Hmm.
Um, do you think he's alive?
I no, I don't. I kept expecting, okay, maybe the cop could arrive in time, but I just don't see how he survives that fall. They literally showed the body. Frontman delivered the money to his daughter. I just don't see how he survives. And unfortunately, Squid Game is not. It's obviously like over the top, but it's and I don't think you could actually do a Squid Game in real life. I think there's like too much to hide with too many people involved. The logistics would not work. But it's also not sci-fi or fantasy to where I think a human could survive that fall.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I just keep seeing so many zany theories, and I do think like of all the games to all of the shows, I mean, to get away with bringing their almost certainly dead character back to life, it's Squid Game.
Hmm.
And it would just be really funny to me if it happened.
Yeah.
Like if the old man were alive, I would have laughed.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I think the one thing that I was surprised with was I thought the front man would die too. Like I really thought he was gonna. I thought that when the detective caught up with him at the end when he had the baby, he would die, but
Mhm.
no, he got
I
away with it.
didn't I didn't expect him to die, if I'm being honest, but
Mm,
um just because I just felt like, well, I knew about the American one and I was like, okay, I feel like Frontman is gonna be involved somehow. Um so yeah, I just did not I always kind of expected him to live. I could see him maybe getting caught.
hmm
Um, but he didn't seem like, I don't know, he just seems like a character that you keep around in a show.
Yeah, and I mean I could even see him showing up in like the David Fincher one, like
I feel like
just.
there's a very good chance he would.
hmm I hope he's his character, not like the front man of not he doesn't play like the same role. Like that would be.
Yeah, I want a different frontman in the American
hmm
version.
Do you have a fan cast in mind?
That's a very, very good question. Um, I don't know why. The first name that comes to mind, I don't think this would actually happen, but is Javier Bardem.
As the front man? Oh,
Yeah,
I mean, I think I could see that. I mean, he's definitely like very serious and
yeah,
like could see it.
I think he could bring a lot to the role, without having to go over the top.
hmm I was thinking more like um someone some almost like Stanley Tucci. Like he's gonna be more
Oh yeah,
eccentric or something. Like
yeah.
very doesn't fit in with the
Hmm.
the world. But I think he can also get really serious and like really creepy at times. So
Yeah.
um, especially if he was like bald. But yeah.
He could just play the same role he did in Hunger Games.
Oh yeah, but more evil.
Now it is time for our ratings, and as a reminder, or if you're new here, we do ratings on the script coverage scale. There is pass when we think it's not so good, consider when we think it's good, it's average, and recommend when we think it is definitely above average, maybe even great. With that said, how would you score Squid Game season 3?
Actually, there's a different screenwriting term that we would give this one. It would be a green light because
Oh
I would
yeah,
give it a recommend. Yeah. I mean, I love Squid Game. I love games like this. I love games. I love games. Uh, I just think it's a fun show. I also think this is my favorite season between that and one. Like I guess I'm torn between that, but it's really tough. Like I really like the nostalgia of like watching the first season for the first time, but this season really like had a great emotional core. So I can't help but respect it, and they at least ended properly, which some shows cannot do.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. This is Squid Game season 3 is an easy recommend. I think it is. I think it's just so it just builds upon seasons 1 and 2 so well and delivers an awesome ending. And I'm going to say I think this might be my favorite season. It relies less on the games, and more on the story and the characters. And I think that's a risk for a Squid Game when every time or when season 1 came out, it was all about the games. And to really lean more into the world and the characters, I feel like that was a bold move, and for me, it works very, very well.
With that said, what else have you been watching?
Yeah, so I recently just watched. I have been obsessed with this movie. Actually, no, I'm not gonna bring this one up. I'm gonna save it. Uh, I I actually recently watched the new Celine Song movie, Materialists. Is it The Materialists or just Materialists?
The Materialists.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So I watched The Materialists. Um, I liked it quite a bit. do not think it is as good as Past Lives. So just um
That's disappointing.
yeah,
That's
so
okay.
that is so just lower your expectations there. But it's a great movie on um like modern uh love and dating. And it really comments on aspects that is happening in reality. And my only real issue with it is the casting. I think Pedro Pascal is perfectly cast. He is, he's supposed to be that unicorn who is perfect. Like just checks all the boxes, looks, height, income, uh, and
You're making
then
Kirtana really happy right now.
yeah, and then you have but I had an issue with Chris Evans and Dakota Johnson.
Hmm.
Dakota Johnson because I was not big on her performance. She felt a little bit wooden. Um, and Chris Evans because he's supposed to be the opposite of Pedro Pascal, where he doesn't check all the boxes. Uh, and he's supposed to be like he's the normal guy, but
Hmm.
you like him because of his personality. But it's literally Chris Evans. It reminds me of the part in Barbie where Barbie goes, "I'm not pretty," and then the narrator is like, "Yeah, Margot Robbie's not the right actress to hammer home this point." That's kind of what it reminded me of, except the movie did not have the voiceover moment to be like, "Hey, we understand what we're doing here."
Yeah, that you can't do that with Chris Evans. Like
Yeah,
that's why something like When Harry Met Sally is popular, right? Because like
right.
that actor, blanking for some reason. Um,
Billy
he
Crystal?
Billy Crystal, yeah, he's
Yeah,
not that conventionally attractive like Chris
yeah,
Evans.
yeah,
Um, yeah, it seems like the just like the hot pretty people type casting like
yeah.
maybe went
I
too far. But yeah.
Yep, yeah. I think I think a uh great actor for this would have actually been I can't remember his name, but the guy who plays Greta Lee's husband in Past Lives. I think he would have been perfect
Oh yeah.
for that kind of for that kind of role. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff too. I think he's a great actor. But I think I think it was they really wanted they wanted a Chris Evans, they wanted a Pedro Pascal, they wanted Dakota Johnson because they're three mega stars. They were leaning into
Hmm.
like, hey, let's market it like a 2000s rom com and really give the audience something else. But other than the casting, I actually think the movie works very very well.
That's good to hear. I mean, I'm definitely going to check it out. Just I think the reviews did kind of like skew me
Yeah,
further away from seeing it. Yeah. Um, so I've been watching The Summer Hikaru Died on Netflix. It's supposed to be like a thriller, but it's got some like romantic elements, but also some like horror elements in there. I feel as though now I've only seen episode one, and I don't know the source material, but it's been very well reviewed, especially among some of my friends. Um, and I do think it's really creepy so far, like what has happened. It's essentially about like a friend who finds his friend Hikaru had died, and then there's like another like entity that is basically in his body or shape of his body. It's not very clear. But he's like, he's back now. And the way that he interacts in his life is very, like, kind of disturbing. So,
right.
yeah.
That
Um,
sounds cool.
I'm excited to keep
It's
checking out more episodes
mhm.
and seeing where it goes. Yeah.
It's the new Netflix show, right? Where it's
Hmm.
they're not releasing once a week, they're releasing once daily.
Yeah, it's a day. I feel like it's been like a day because I've not. When I first checked, it was on episode two, and then I saw like a couple more episode clips come out, and I'm like, oh wait, so it is? It isn't
Yeah.
like a week? I was so confused at first.
It could also be the Arcane schedule where they released three a week. But
Hmm.
it's kind of interesting. Netflix every now and then experimenting with the hey, what if we? release week by week. And I think at some point they're doing that with their animated shows. I think eventually their live action shows are gonna start releasing um maybe not like the one episode a week, but maybe the the mini binges of 3 episodes. Because
Hmm.
I think what happens is a Netflix show drops, everyone talks about it for a week, and then they forget about it. Versus you have a show like Severance where like momentum just builds and builds because people keep talking about it.
Hmm. Yeah. That said, I mean, I think they do well with their movies at least because K-pop Demon Hunters, that's been like huge.
Hmm.
Like on Twitter. They definitely know how to promote. They're just very
Right.
selective about what they want to promote because like a movie like that could have definitely failed, but they knew what to do with it.
Yep.
They probably don't know. They probably aren't doing that much with Summer Hikaru died, and it's probably just because they don't really need to do anything about it, I guess.
Yeah. Weird thing is, it's like in general, I think in now you use K-pop Demon Hunters as an example, which I think is actually a really good movie. But the weird thing is, it's like in general, Netflix has great series and not so good movies. But
Hmm.
they definitely push their movies way more than their series.
That's interesting. I didn't really notice that before, but I mean, now that you mention it, it does make sense. I think it's
Yeah.
possibly just because they're trying to com TV they've basically stolen. Like
Yeah.
they have a leg up on TV.
Yep.
Um, but movies, like they can't really do anything about theatrical releases. They have to make them seem more special than they are.
Yeah.
So that might be a reason for it, but I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't work for Netflix.
So thank you again so much for watching or listening to this episode of Pages Pixels. We're gonna be back next week with a brand new movie. And until then,
I don't know.
um,
I'm I'm Kevin,
thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll be back next week. I'm Rohan,
and I'm Kevin, and
and
see you
thank
guys
you.
next week. Yeah.
Bye.